Ugh. Ah, fucking nose. Ugh. Oh, fuck. The paper towel. Oh. Man, fucking nose, dude. Jesus. Ugh. 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 Man, oh man. Ugh. What? What, bud? It's been in boofy mood today. Dude. What's up, dog? Oh, I don't know what he wants. The fuck you want, bro? You keep staring at me. What? What? What, dog? You really want something, and I don't know what. Got water, it's got food, so I don't know. I don't get it. Is it just the shit that's going on outside? Cause yeah, Neighbors Across the Street are doing shit. I think they're like doing some construction, like refitting the house over there or something. But that's what's going on, dog. You don't have to boof at it every time you hear a little noise. Ugh, goofy dog. Let's watch. Give it a little bit, and he will like certainly start going off again. Within a little bit, within a short period of time. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see with that little break. What you doing, goof? You goofball dog. What are you planning and what you scheming, hmm? Oh, there we go. Being a good boy now. Now it's just chilling. Goofy little doggo. Get this fucking bowl going here. Let's try to wake myself a little bit. Oh, my God. Man, Yeah, body's awake, but the brain definitely isn't yet. There we go. There we go. I felt good. Until this guy getting the brain woken up a little bit. Let's see what's going on for Nina for a minute. Let's see what's happening. What be down for the world? Goofy little ball. Man, really? Nothing going on for a good old Saturday here. Gotta love it. Barely a damn thing on tubes. Boo. Boo. What says you, doggle? Wait, not being boofy? Not gonna be a boofball now? I was thinking he would, but guess not. Oh, here's a little something. Gay MAGA chuds try to go to a pride event and it literally backfires. Gay Republicans came out as MAGA chuds at pride. That's a quick way to get yourself kicked out. Did they really think that was gonna pan out okay? It's not gonna lie, that is actually kind of funny. You know what? Here, I'm gonna look at it. Why not? There we go.
Well, Pride Month is now over, but we're hearing from some members of the LGBTQ plus community who actually had a less than stellar time this year at Pride. Specifically, ones who were profiled in the New York Post that said they really felt disappointed and even left out this year because of the way that they were treated by other members of the LGBTQ plus community and their allies after they chose to do something. Specifically, they chose to come out. And they came out as Trump supporters. And predictably, it did not go well. So the New York Post reports brave pals Anthony Tolvay and John McGuigan hit the chaotic New York City's Pride Parade June 30th with rainbow Trump flags, earning them deathly cold stares and jeers from revelers. One who flipped them the bird, they said. There was definitely a lot of...
Oh my goodness. Holy shit. So that's funny.
Said Tolvay, 45. A lot of rich white women with children who feel inclined to come up to you and face off with you. I was at the beach the other day, and I was booed off the beach. A guy started kicking sand on me. This was at Reese Park, Tolvay added.
Dude, like reverting to old bully tactics. Just start kicking sand. It's like, fuck you.
Okay, so there's a couple of problems. First of all, fellow members of the LGBTQ plus community don't want to be associated with you because you are actively rooting for a candidate that's part of a party that fucking hates you. You're like a chicken who's pro KFC or a sheep that's pro wolf. Your political position is utterly nonsensical. It's against your own self interest to support this candidate.
Which is why they get kicked out. Because it's like, hey, we're going to be like pro LGBT, but also support a dude who's totally, like part of a party and part of an agenda that wants to curtail any of those rights. It's like, yeah, of course you're going to get your ass kicked out because your fucking dumbass, wants to try to, like, have your cake and eat too, but it ain't going to work like that. I mean, it's like you can't just go out. I mean, it's kind of like the whole thing where, like, some people will be like, we don't want cops here in our pride events kind of thing. It's why some people do that shit, because they don't, want, like, people who have historically been, like, oppressors, to queer rights and shit being involved in it.
Not only are you offending them, but you look like a fool. Now, on top of that, you're showing up to Pride with a Trump flag. Did you expect anything but ridicule? And it's ironic that they complained that people were flipping them off. You showing up with a Trump flag, that's basically a fuck you to everyone at Pride. You're saying, I don't support your rights. Even though you're part of the community, you're saying, I support this candidate who's against you. I mean, if the candidate that you support gets elected, Project 2025 necessitates that gay guys like you lose equal marriage rights. On top of that, other members of the community will be affected as well. Gender affirming healthcare would be taken away from minors. Your very existence would be deemed pornographic, and as a result, public displays of pride, like the one you just attended, would be restricted because Project 2025 explicitly.
I mean, it pretty much would explicitly, state that it literally just anything from, like, wearing, like, a pride pin or going to a pride event or something like that, or just simply just literally being a gay person, out in public would essentially, like, grant a status of, being considered like a sex offender, which literally makes no fucking sense at all. It's just utterly just stupid fucking nonsense. But, yeah, Republicans want to push that shit. And, like, the idea of, like, these gay Republicans, like the log cabin Republicans or whatever, especially, like, Trump supporting ones, want to, like, be a part of the community and be involved or whatever, but yet still want to support this shit. It's like, no, fuck you. It's like, get out. Go away. I don't want you.
Says that First Amendment rights do not apply to queer people. So that's why you're feeling left out. Because the people here, they are being marginalized by the person you're supporting. And being a gay Trump supporter is just fucking dumb in and of itself. But the two gay men that we're talking about here, Anthony Tolbay and John McGuigan, they might literally be the worst Trump supporters, like the most insufferable Trump supporters on the planet. And I say this because
that's a pretty high bar at this point. Well, low bar, I should say. It's not that hard to be a very insufferable MAGA chud prick. Like, I mean, how bad can they be? Like, how bad can they be?
Reading this article, I realized that these two men went the most viral after Trump was convicted because of how unhinged their response was. So we actually reacted to them on the leftist mafia, and as you're going to see, we couldn't believe the batshittery that we were witnessing.
Holy fucking shit! Holy fucking shit! What?
Oh, it's this guy! It's the Gays for Trump dude. Oh my god, it's the same guy. Motherfuckers!
Your fucking kids are all dead. Your kids are all fucking
I can't tell if that's a threat or if he's just stating that, yep, our children are dying because of what happened to Trump. Like, I don't know what the fuck he's trying to say there, but... Dude, these are the same fucking dudes. I didn't realize these are the same guys. That just makes it better. I can see why they're insufferable, because, yeah. Well, insufferable, but at least funny as fuck.
Get away from us! Get the fuck out of here! You're gonna vote for a traitor? Get the fuck out of here, bitch!
You're the fucking fan. Fuck you. You're the fan. You're the fucking bitch. I mean, considering how he's yelling it doesn't exactly sound threatening or very angry. Like, oh, so you're gonna vote for a traitor? And just like it says it so femininely too. It's just like, and these guys just get so riled up over it. Like, oh my god. I like how this dude is like, I'll just record this. I'll just record the, yeah, like the chimps in their cages. Might as well.
You're a pussy! Do you hear me? You're a little pussy! Strictly pussy! That's all you are.
A strictly pussy? What?
You're not even a man.
We're gonna eat you. We're gonna eat you and your
Yeah?
family.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. Oh, you little bitch. Knock him down. Knock the bitch down. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Pussy. You little pussy. You little pussy.
Those were the two guys the article was talking about. Yeah.
And so they went to a gay pride rally, thinking that they would be welcomed or something, despite, like, this being, like, who they are. Yeah, definitely was going to work out. How much you want to bet they also screamed out, it's like, you bunch of fucking pussies! Fuck you, motherfuckers! Start yelling at them, too, just like this.
Suffice to say, even if they weren't Trump supporters, I'd assume that they'd still have a pretty difficult time making friends. But the good news is that they have each other. They're apparently besties. That's great. But apparently it's not good enough for them, and they feel isolated from their own community. Now, I understand that. That would make me feel bad as well. But the reason why you feel that way is because you're supporting a candidate, again, and a political operation that is an existential threat to everyone in the community. So, of course, you're not going to feel the most welcome if you're supporting self-sabotage here. Now, I've told you why reasonable people in the LGBTQ plus community don't want to be associated with individuals like them who are aligned with the far right. But according to a different gay conservative, you're actually a dingbat if you're a queer, but don't want to live in a far-right hellhole that would come to fruition in the event Trump were elected and Project 2025 were enacted. I'll let them explain why.
The intersectional dingbats who are out.
Of course. Mike, you gotta say who it is before you do this. No, not Reuben. Oh, no, not the Reuben. Not the moldy Reuben sandwich. Oh, God. Ugh. So you queer dingbats that just want to, like, do woke stuff all the time. Don't you realize that, basically just being a punchy bag for the right is actually, like, kind of nice, dude? It's like, I mean, the recovery mode that my brain is going with these high-minded ideas, dude. Like, oh my God, bro.
Promoting for Hamas, who will kill you, it will be the far right.
You're tying it to that, you dumb fuck? It's like, oh, these pro, LGBT mafia guys, it's just like they want to, like, to put him out so much, but it's like, the far right actually wants to destroy them, so it's like, who's actually better for them?
That will save you. You will ultimately want to live in far right countries because largely they will basically be like, all right, you're gay, big goddamn deal, let's move on.
This man was told...
Said no far right government ever. What? That's not even remotely close to true. Like, huh?
Right-wingers that he...
Even in, like, somewhat, like, democratic liberal states and shit, like South Korea or Japan, for example, they're still pretty heavily socially conservative as fuck when it comes to shit like this. Like, that's just bullshit. Like, what?
Be executed when he announced that he was having babies with his husband. But now he's pretending like none of that harassment happened, and he's contending that...
To him, that's not harassment. It's just people sharing their free market of, place of ideas, bruh. That's what Dave Rubin would call it.
Right, is actually going to save LGBTQ plus people, and you're crazy for not wanting to live in a far right country. Okay, cool. Listen, he's trying to make it seem like the far right has a live and let live philosophy, but the opposite is true. They literally want to ban his marriage and take away his children, and some even want to execute him. Charlie Kirk, one of his colleagues who he's worked with in the past at Turning Point USA, he just said a couple of weeks ago that the punishment in the Bible is stoning queer people. Yeah, because the Christian nationalists...
Which isn't exactly completely accurate anyway, because I know exactly what, is being specified with that. I'm pretty sure it's based off of, like, Leviticus, and it doesn't specify anything really about queer people. Or, I mean, like, it, I mean, it could be interpreted that way, essentially, but that's really about as best that, you can really lay it out as. It's like something that is interpretable. Like, because, I mean, it could mean, different things, at least when it comes to, like, what was, translated from the Bible, from the original text of shit. Which, shocker, I mean, just like everything else in the Bible tends to get cherry-picked and interpreted, to fit, a specific narrative.
Ideology, which they want to impose on all of us, isn't about tolerance. It is explicitly about intolerance. The goal is to impose God's laws on all of us, regardless if we agree or disagree with that religion. So if you honestly think that it's going to bode better for you to live in a far-right hellhole in the event Trump is elected and Project 2025 is enacted, let's just say you're a little bit misguided, okay, to put it charitably.
Yeah, let's just put it charitably, say, yeah, a little misguided and maybe you're a little ignorant. You're just ignorant.
Now, he referred to Hamas and claimed that queer people's support for Hamas is as nonsensical as we say queer people's support for Republicans is. But queer people are not supporting Hamas. This is a straw man. They're supporting Palestinians and their right to not be murdered by Israel. But one way that queer Republicans kind of rationalize their support for Republicans is to prop up Muslims as the real boogeyman. For example, listen to a conversation that the right-wing drag queen Lady MAGA had with a queer person.
Would you say you're pro-Palestine or pro-Israel?
Palestine.
As a gay man, I would be punished and or put in prison or killed if I were openly gay in Palestine. How do you react to that?
I didn't know that.
I mean, so I would just say, okay. I mean, does that mean that Israel should bomb the fuck out of, like, women and children, even if maybe they think that? Like, I mean, if anything, maybe saying solidarity of them not getting blown to bits would probably make them feel less animosity towards queer people. So, who gives a fuck?
So
It is
What?
illegal to be gay in Palestine. You are punished by prison or death.
Which Israel also doesn't allow gay marriage, by the way. So, frankly, I mean, Israel isn't exactly great on this either. So, get fucked. Here, let me knock out. Because I'm thinking that's what he wants. What's that?
No, Israel has gay pride. Israel is completely open to lesbian and gay people.
Unless they want to get married.
Palestine puts them in prison or kills them. You weren't aware of that?
I was not aware of that, no. So that does pose an interesting aspect.
Have you seen the Queers for Palestine movement? It's a very common movement, but I don't see any Muslims for Queer movement.
I mean, have you tried looking? Because
I mean, like, yeah, like, I mean, it's not like, they don't exist. They're probably just not as, commonplace. But, like, what, you don't think, there are maybe, like, Muslim people that go to these pride events?
it's interesting that you to bring up Queers for Palestine, because that slogan, I believe, was popularized by a queer organization in Tunisia, which is a Muslim majority country. Furthermore, there are
Interesting.
plus LGBTQ plus movements.
So that's a little interesting. That'd be a little curious. Which actually, I didn't even know that either. I thought it would have been like like an organization based here in the U.S. But hey, a little interesting. But yeah, I guess there's just like no Muslims whatsoever that are like queer people at all or support that. Yeah, definitely not. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All across the Middle East and North Africa, people who happen to be both queer and Muslim, they actually exist. Those two labels are not mutually exclusive, contrary to popular belief. In fact, I think somebody actually wrote a book about this very subject.
Himself. Which actually, curiously enough, he's putting it up right here in the corner.
Link to catalyze down below. But Muslims, like Christians, they're not a
I
monolith.
still need to get that book.
All religious people use their religions to justify bigotry if they're bigoted, And if they're not bigoted, then they sometimes use their religion to affirm queer people. I think it just depends on the person ultimately. Now, when it comes to Palestine, the laws regarding homosexuality are actually unclear because they don't have a state. Now, anecdotally speaking, queer Palestinians don't just exist, but a lot of them actually come out to their friends and family, and they're able to be openly gay. Now, part of the reason why that's the case is because I think that they're not as concerned with policing the lives of people, who are sex and gender minorities when they're literally just trying to exist. Now, that's not to say.
I mean, it's not really just that, but just simply survive and not get literally blown to bits. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure when it comes to different issues like, hey, are you gay or not, or whatever, I don't think any of them give a fuck. I think they'd rather be like, hey, were you able to find food? You didn't get blown to bits today. Great. Woo! Like, that's what they're thinking, okay? Like, I don't think they give a fuck about that type of shit right now.
Homophobia doesn't exist there. Of course it does, like it does in every single country. But it's just not a valid reason, I think, to do a genocide against them, right? Saying, well, they're homophobic, therefore their extermination is valid. I mean, no. So it's weird that they always bring up this point as if it's some sort of a gotcha. No, it's not a gotcha. You're just trying to rationalize genocide and prop up Muslims as a boogeyman, but you're not.
Which also, weirdly enough, is kind of saying it's like, well, it's like, obviously, people on the left don't like homophobia and think it's obviously horrible, bigoted shit, but, these people who are obviously homophobic are, like expressing, very bad shit, stuff like that, right? So, obviously, it's okay to some extent for them to get blown the shit out and be genocided. It's like, two wrongs don't make a right. Like, I mean, I could give a fuck if, there's like bigoted piece of shit that happened to, live in Palestine or whatever. I could care less. Like, I mean, like, them getting blown to shit, for really, literally no fucking reason is probably more important than that.
Doing a very good job at that. And part of that is ignorance, part of it is code. But it's incredibly fucking ironic for Lady MAGA to make Muslims the boogeyman when we're on the cusp of Christian nationalism here in the United States. Even though gay MAGA Cheds won't admit.
Well, it's not a big deal. I mean, most people in this country are already Christians, so I mean, come on, what's the big deal with that? Yeah.
Deep down, they know that the situation is pretty bad. They're feeling the heat. Even individuals like Lady MAGA, who puts on a brave smiley face, but in reality, Lady MAGA knows that it's getting bad. And there's a reason why Lady MAGA did a pivot back in March of last year, writing on Twitter, quote, I now prefer to call myself a costume artist, not a drag queen.
Wow, because the right essentially is like, policed them so much to the point where it's just like, well, I'm a costume artist. I'm not a drag queen, okay? Okay? Don't call me that. Even though that's literally what I am.
Drag world was a way I could use my talents, but they destroyed their credibility with predatory filth.
That's the cope you're going to be using. Oh my god, of course. So like, yeah, I wasn't like basically bullied out to be, a drag queen essentially. No, it was the drag queens themselves.
I can play any cosplay character. My artistry is about creativity and fun. In other words, the Republican Party started to target drag queens and smear them as groomers, and you were forced to distance yourself from that label if you wanted to remain viable in that right-wing echo chamber that you're in. Now, I'm assuming that you came to that realization.
Which also I don't think would work that much anyway, because, like, with Lady Mag going to these rallies, I guarantee you, a lot of people are like, why is there a drag queen here? What the fuck? But then they'll probably approach, them and then be like, oh, well, at least you're on our side, I guess. You're one of the rare good ones.
After how poorly you...
Because fundamentally, they're just meant to be a pick-me.
Were treated at that year's CPAC. Rolling Stone reports Matt Walsh, perhaps the loudest anti-trans voice in the conservative movement, tweeted a photo of the drag queen, talking about Lady MAGA, writing, absolute embarrassment. You are not conservative if you are fighting to conserve perversion. A Groyper, follower of the white nationalist America First leader Nick Fuentes, later accosted Lady MAGA at a dinner as an F-slur. But yet, according to Lady MAGA, Muslims are the problem, not Christians.
Yeah, and this far-right Christian nationalism and this whole weird far-right fascism that's on the rise in the U.S., yeah, that's definitely not a problem whatsoever. It's hummus and all these Muslims, apparently, that are the issue. It's like, get fucking fucked, dude.
Nationalists. Just ridiculous. Now, at that same CPAC, Michael Knowles called for the eradication of transgenderism, and a year later said that marriage was between a man and a woman. But years prior, tweeted out a photo of himself with Lady Maga, saying that this drag queen here he was photographing himself with was a star. So, I get that LGBTQ plus conservatives feel a little bit of whiplash because it seemed like Trump was at least ostensibly less hostile to queer people, but that's just not the case. And a lot of these same gay conservatives tried to ingratiate themselves with right wingers by throwing trans people under the bus because if you sacrifice them, perhaps the thinking, I guess, is that
they won't go after
they're going to
you.
spare you.
But like, just because you have a sacrificial lamb, to be like, hey, see, we're okay, it doesn't work. Because just like with these motherfuckers like Matt Walsh from Nick Fuentes, they're going to like utterly just demonize you, like dehumanize you, and just be, and still call you shit, or call you faggot and also bullshit. Like they're not going to give a fuck. So so to try to give any fucking credence to the right on these issues, just because like, oh, you might be like fiscally conservative or socially conservative on other shit, like doesn't mean that they're like have any of your best interests in mind. Like honestly, it'd just be preferable if they like literally had like their own like right wing party of some sort, or like just had like a more centrist moderate like fiscal conservative party of some shit that's okay with gay people like that, because then like this whole far right shit would just be broadly just like coalescing into one party instead of just like this weird right-wing amalgamation where, like a large section of the party pretty much vehemently fucking hates, and demonizes, like, a certain chunk of their own party. Like these, gay Republicans or these gay MAGA types or like the Dave Rubin types and shit. Or like Leggy MAGA.
It doesn't work that way. If they come for some of us, they're coming for all of us. But I actually think that, and I'm just going to be frank, I actually think that these people are too stupid to understand that. And I say this because the New York Post spoke with another gay Trump supporter who also feels left out by the community. And what he says is confirmation that these people are just fucking dumb. Quote, I'm almost anti-gay, a frustrated doorman at 64 told the Post. It's an embarrassment to see this kind of behavior. I'd really invite them to go to Iran or Gaza. Oh, haven't heard that one before. Got us.
Oh my god, wow. Dude, do they really not really have much to go off of besides just that?
See what that does for you. See how fast they throw you in prison or kill you, like what conservatives want to do, right? It feels like the Soviet Union Marxist environment now. He has no...
Does he honestly understand anything about what the fuck is that, dude? That's so... A Marxist environment? The fuck? Okay. Yeah, sure. Go off, my old gay Republican king. Yeah, go off. Yeah, sure. We'll just go with that. The fuck, dude?
I have no idea what that means, he said. With the gay community, they feel that Republicans on the far right have an anti-gay thing. Yes, they have a certain religious belief. They have a right to say they don't like that lifestyle. Yeah, smartest gay conservative right there, folks. Listen, nobody is denying that they have a right to hate gay people. Of course, they are allowed to hate gay people. It's a free country. The problem is that they want to impose their hateful beliefs on all of us. But to say that
just keeping it to themselves,
people are Marxists because they're anti-conservative is just fucking stupid. Like, the queer community is not a monolith, right? There are leftist...
I mean, I kind of find it hilarious that, they're just like this, it's like some sort of a Marxist Soviet Union environment. It's like, I mean, like, in one hand, it's like I fucking kind of wish, question mark? I kind of reluctantly want to say that just because, like, I don't think this fuck understands what that means. But still, it's just like, I mean, okay. I mean, yeah, gay people aren't a fucking monolith. I mean, there are queer people like me that definitely are, like, leftist as fuck. And honestly, I would argue that a lot of, queer people tend to at least be in some way, shape, or form. But, like, again, like Mike said, gay people aren't a fucking monolith. Like, and frankly, honestly, the majority of gay people aren't really that super political about shit. I mean, just like shocker, most people in general tend to not be, like, super hyper political about different shit. Because, frankly, like, one's sexuality shouldn't have to be made into, like, some political agenda on whether or not, like, it's okay to, like, be gay married or, be trans or not or whatever the fuck. It shouldn't have to, be some sort of a political point.
There's liberal queers, there's conservative queers that don't necessarily support the Republican Party for obvious reasons. But the reason why so many queer people are anti-conservative is because it is logical to be against a party and an ideology that doesn't want you to exist. Like, how do you not understand this? But this person here goes on to explain that support for Trump literally almost destroyed his marriage. And he says that his husband was horrified when Trump won, and he didn't understand why he was so hysterical, and his husband wanted to kick him out of the house. But he says, thankfully, their marriage survived, but they just can't talk about politics. So,
Wow.
that things are pretty peachy in that household. But listen, it is true that LGBTQ plus conservatives, they exist. But here's the thing. If you're going to enthusiastically support a party that fucking hates you and the rest of your community, I don't know why you expect anything but side eyes when you show up to these events, especially if you're going to be flaunting your political ideology, right? Because most queer people are rightfully against a political movement hell-bent on their destruction. So if you can't understand that, then I'm helping you understand that, but that's why you're feeling left out. It's because if you're a conservative that supports Donald Trump, we don't want you as part of our community. Fuck off.
No shit. I mean, it's like, it really just comes down to, like, just have some fucking introspection. Like, why do you think, you're feeling left out on it? It's not like we inherently don't want you ever in the community, but it's just like, if you're going to be, like, hardcore MAGA chud, but also, being, like, some sort of, pro-queer, pride rally attending type of person, then, you legit just can't have it both ways. You gotta be one or the other. Like, legit. So pick one. It's literally just one of those things where it's just like, hey, pick one. And man, I got like fucking loose hair all over me, dude. It's driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts. Man. Between like Sukas's fucking fur on me and then some of my loose ass hair. It's like, yeah. I don't know. Goodness gracious. Man, dude. I'll say there's something more oxymoronic than, like, hardcore, like, gay, MAGA, chug, conservative types. But they tend to be the most, like, fruity and, like, the most hilarious, though. You motherfuckers! Dude, I can't get over that guy. I can't believe, like, the post was talking about, those guys. And, like, especially with how, like, unhinged they are. It's like, oh my god, I love it. We're gonna eat your fucking kids. We're gonna eat your kids. It's like, what? Like, damn, like their brains were so broken over that conviction that one of them was like gonna literally go into cannibalism. Why are honestly a lot of these conservatives into that shit? Because Alex Jones has said this shit too. It's like, I'll eat my neighbors. I'll eat their ass. I'll eat my neighbors. Like, dude, there is something about these conservatives that are a little too okay with cannibalism. Like, it's like, okay. I have a weird feeling that they got, like, some weird shit that they need to hash out that one. Man, I gotta, like, I want to know if there's, like, other conservatives that have mentioned it before, because I know, like, it's a kind of a pattern. I want to know how, like, severe it is, because I'm sure it is probably pretty bad. Nice. But, I think at least call it good for now, and just like last night, next time I pop back on, do a little more karaoke. And all that fun shit, so, peace out for now, and see y'all on the next one.